According to evolutionists, our planet is said to be 4.5 billion years old, with human life, whether primitive or modern, populating it for the last 6 million years. So, with millions of years having passed us by already, it's no wonder that the very ground we walk upon and oceans that we sail and swim in have yielded some incredible findings over the past few hundred years, relics of past lives. Here are 5 of the most amazing discoveries unearthed by us, and brought into the modern world from hundreds and even thousands of years in the past. Our first case takes us to Venzone, a small province in Udine, Italy, where more than 40 mummified bodies were found in a cathedral there. They date back hundreds of years and have individually been placed somewhere between the 14th and 19th centuries, and even though the majority were unearthed in the 19th century, the first was discovered as far back as 1647, and even caught the attention of Napoleon's soldiers, who are said to have cut strips from the bodies to keep as souvenirs. The first found mummy, known as Il Gobbo, or the hunchback mummy, has an unusual shaped body due to the position it was buried in. The mummification process of all the bodies found is said to be caused by a rare fungus which grows in the area, a kind of mould that dehydrates the body before it fully decomposes, leaving the skin parchment-like in appearance and texture. The fungus is not the only theory to the body's preservation though. Some scientists who have studied the corpses say that the limestone present in the surrounding earth may be the real reason for it. 5 of the mummies are now on display at the Chapel of St. Michael, next to the crypt in which they were found, with the majority being sent away to university labs and museums. As the bodies were retrieved over the years, many of the local people congregated in Venzone to be with their long-dead ancestors, and some forever recording their macabre reunion in a series of photos taken in 1950. Following an earthquake which hit the Venzone region in 1976, a number of the mummies were destroyed, leaving only 15 in good enough condition for display. In 2001, an ancient city was discovered off the coast of the Egyptian city of Alexandria, a city by the name of Heraklion, submerged by sea approximately 1,200 years ago. French marine archaeologist Frank Godillo, sent out to find Napoleon's warships, sunk in these very waters during the Battle of the Nile in 1798. What he discovered though would prove an even more significant discovery, leaving historians in awe. Even though historical books suggest that Heraklion in its later years was overshadowed by neighbouring Alexandria, which became the capital of Egypt in 312 BC, it was once described by 5th century historian Herodotus as a lively and thriving city. He also told the story of Helen of Troy, who travelled there with her lover Paris, before the Trojan War occurred in the 13th century. Frank Godillo and his team began work retrieving and reassembling crumbling buildings and statues, all surprisingly well preserved as they lay deep beneath the ocean's silt bed, 20 miles northeast of Alexandria. In 2013, the findings were presented to the public for the first time, making it one of the most significant discoveries of the 21st century. As well as the statues of Egyptian god and goddess Hapi and Isis, there was also an unidentified Egyptian pharaoh. All these statues stood at around 16 foot in height. Along with these large statues, there were hundreds of smaller statues of Egyptian gods, among them the figures that guarded the temple where Cleopatra was inaugurated as Queen of the Nile. Even mummified corpses of animals were discovered at the site, as well as gold and bronze coins and jewellery. To further prove the importance of the finding, 64 ships were discovered, the largest number of ancient seacraft found in one place, further supporting the theoretical importance the great city of Heraklion had on the surrounding islands and maybe even further flung regions. Our next case finds us at the cradle of mankind, 31 miles from the South African city of Johannesburg, where in 2013 paleoanthropologists from the University of Witwatersrand found what they believe to be a new ancestor in the ever-changing family tree of mankind. The skeletal remains, dubbed Homo naledi by its finders, is said to be part human and part ape. The remains of 15 men, women and children were found in a cave called the Rising Star. The fingers on the bodies were found to be more curved than modern humans, suggesting that Homo naledi had been well adapted to climbing. The feet are slightly smaller than ours, but examination of the bodies as a whole suggested that Homo naledi did in fact walk upright, like modern Homo sapiens. But physical attributes aside, one of the most fascinating factors in this discovery was that the bodies appeared to be ritualistically placed in a room beneath the caves, well clear of its entrance and out of view from the outside world, which suggested that Homo naledi was the earliest known example of mankind who purposely disposed of their dead in a ritualistic manner, a trait that until now has only been linked to modern humans. But further investigation leaned towards a possibility that the bodies were washed deep inside the cave system by heavy rainfall. Frustratingly though, the age of the bones have not yet been determined, but it is confirmed at least that this new find is an early version of ourselves. In September of 2015, the remains were presented to the world for the first time, gaining respect as one of the most important links to our ancestry. Now we travel to New Zealand, Mount Owen in the Tasman district to be exact, where in 1839 a natural history enthusiast by the name of John W. Harris uncovered a large piece of bone, which he sent to London for examination. London's Sir Richard Owen of the Hunterian Museum concluded, after 4 years of speculation, that the bone belonged to an unidentified, long-extinct bird. Even though he was ridiculed by some of his peers at the time, it was concluded that Owen was correct in his findings, but no more was said at the time about the kind of bird that it was. Now we return to New Zealand 137 years into the future. In 1986, some reports say it was 1987, a team of archaeologists were investigating a system of caves within Mount Owen. What they found there astounded them. A large, well-preserved claw with flesh and scales still partially intact. Following analysis of their find, it was concluded that the claw belonged to a 3,000-year-old flightless bird, the now extinct upland moa, whose origins, with the help of DNA testing, was found to date back 18.5 million years. In 2008, with the help of modern social media, the picture was claimed to be a dinosaur foot, discovered in Mongolia, but these claims were soon debunked, and the truth of its origins prevailed. According to the Natural History Museum in London, where the claw now resides, it's almost certain that the bird was completely extinct by the time Europeans arrived in New Zealand in the 1760s. Amazingly, plans to resurrect the moa species are underway, with Japanese geneticist Anko Yasuyuki Sirota already having made steps towards extracting DNA from the remains. If spliced with chicken embryos, and with a little forced evolution, it's thought that the moa bird could be reintroduced to the world in the next 50 years. Now over to southern Peru, where the biggest examples of ancient art are on display. Only they can't be seen from the immediate ground. You need to at least venture into the nearby foothills to even catch a glimpse of them. From the sky, however, the enormous engravings of animals, trees and intricate designs can clearly be seen to adorn the ancient landscape. The largest of these engravings measure up to 200 meters in length. The Nazca hieroglyphs, or Nazca lines as they are more commonly known, were first mentioned in a book published in 1553 by Pedro César de León, a Spanish conquistador and chronicler of Peru, but he first mistook them for trail marks. The designs were mostly forgotten about until 1927, when a Peruvian archaeologist spotted them from the foothills. This is when the full enormity of the works were realised, but they didn't undergo a full study until 1939, when a pilot experienced them in their full glory from the sky. The purpose of these magnificent drawings have divided experts though. Some say they have religious meaning, some say that they have links to water sources due to one of the engravings depicting a large condor. Local legend has it that when a condor flies over the Nazca plains, heavy rain soon follows, filling the reservoirs. Others say that they are simply art, a way for the ancient Nazca culture to express themselves, while others even claim that the markings were put there by aliens from another planet. Spiders, monkeys, fish, reptiles and plants can be seen engraved into the red earth of Nazca, all made up of a single line, never once crossing itself. The markings go no deeper than 10 to 15 centimeters, but it's amazing how an ancient civilization could work on such large hieroglyphs with such accuracy without being able to see their progress from the air. Many of the drawings also appear on pottery and textiles from the region. Around 700 designs are said to exist, and questions regarding the exact purpose of the Nazca lines remains open to debate. That's it from me once again. If you like what I do, please follow and subscribe, and if you have an idea for a future video, why not drop me a line.